Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda, broadcasting to you live from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And you will find and see the numbers displayed at the bottom of the screen so that we can receive your calls and answer the questions that we are able to answer with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal. And until we receive the first caller, Amina sends a question or an objection. And she says that I want to learn a sport and have a male teacher because there is no other option right now. The problem is I don't know how a woman is to enter a male-dominated field if we can't learn from a man. I think women teachers of sports and physical fitness are just as important as female doctors. To deny women the education, we let certain fields remain male-dominated, stopping more women from learning. Now, this objection of Amina is not a very sound objection because Sharia law, the Islamic law, is crystal clear. The boundaries are there and found. Scholars have placed legal maxims or fiqhi rules that governs the whole of what people need. So if someone comes and says that men are dominating certain fields more than women, the answer would be in the Quran. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. Male is not like a female. So this is it, period. Allah Azza wa Jal had pointed out this scientific fact, this global fact, call it whatever you want. But this is a fact. Men have their own fields, women have their own fields. Now, maybe you will find some males coming in the future and saying that, listen, women have been dominating the field of pregnancy for so long. Now we males should move up to the task and maybe get pregnant or whatever. Is this logical? Allah Azza wa Jal created men and women different, and each were appointed with tasks and obligations different than the others. So to come and say, no, I'd like to do what a man does, for a woman to say that, this is unacceptable. Now, let's look at a male doctor serving females or treating female patients. What is the ruling on that? In the absence of female doctors, this becomes permissible because Islam does not promote killing yourself. So you have to get treatment, and there's no other alternative except a male doctor. In this case, he may look at you, he may touch you, he may do what is necessary to cure your illness with what Allah has given him with knowledge, only in that specific or designated area. Now, is a male doctor equivalent in treating females to a coach training a female? Definitely not. Is sports something that is essential, and if you don't learn it, you're gonna die, and you want to compete and enter such fields that are dominated by men? You want to learn boxing, for example? You want to learn MMA? Is this something that a female would learn? Or you want to go pro football or soccer or basketball? All of this is not the field of a woman. It's not a necessity, including that it has embedded in it a lot of evil. Sports for women is okay. A woman can play sports. A woman can do something to recreate herself, providing that she's totally segregated and isolated from men. They cannot even look at her. She is to be in an all-female situation. No problem. She goes to a club that is all females. No problem in that. But she has to be selective with the sports she's engaging in. So she says, I'd like to maybe swim in a swimming suit. No, this is exposing your awra. You can't do this. Maybe if you wear proper clothes, yes, you can swim. If she wants to do something that is haram, such as boxing, it's haram for both men and women, and so on. So the fields are many, and you can learn as much as you want. But to make haram things halal and justifying this because we would like to enter a field that is dominated by men, definitely this has nothing to do with Islam, and it's totally prohibited. Ayah's second question says, does a person become a kafir if he sits in a place where kufr is being spoken about and does not leave, but hates it in his heart? Now, the issue of kufr, which is disbelief, is a very important thing to know, because you cannot be a proper Muslim without avoiding the things that nullify your Islam. However, some of us are obsessed, and this obsession leads them to classifying people. He did this, then he's a kafir. I did this, then probably I'm a kafir. I have these thoughts in my mind. Am I a kafir? And it's taking their energy, it's taking their iman, it's draining them from the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal into just materialistic things and engaging them only in labeling people. And this is a serious issue. As for Ayah's question, if you are in a place and someone is ridiculing the Prophet ﷺ, or making fun of Allah's verses, or making fun of Islam, or criticizing something from our religion, now you have an option, either to stand up and say this is haram, and you have to point out why it's haram and telling them that this is kufr, or you may simply leave if you're unable to clarify your point and tell them about it. This was mentioned in the Quran, where Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَقَدْ نَزَّلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الْكِتَابِ أَنْ إِذَا سَمِعْتُمْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ يُكْفَرُ بِهَا وَيُسْتَهْزَأُ بِهَا فَلَا تَقْعُدُوا مَعَهُمْ حَتَّى يَخُوضُوا فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرِهِ إِنَّكُمْ إِذًا مِثْلُهُمْ. So Allah Azza wa Jal is telling us that Allah has enjoined upon you, has revealed to you, that if you were in a place and you found that the verses of Allah are being rejected and ridiculed, so do not sit with them until they engage in different topic. Otherwise, you would be like them. Allah Azza wa Jal would gather the hypocrites and the disbelievers together in hell on the day of judgment. So it is an act of kufr if you do not retaliate or at least point out that this is haram. Similarly to the march that took place in Paris, those who participated in it, if they knew that what they were doing is haram, and they knew that this thing is something that nullifies Islam, and yet still they participated and they marched with it, and when someone asks them, is it okay to make drawings depicting the Prophet ﷺ and ridiculing Islam, and he says, this is freedom of right, they have the right to do this, this is blasphemy. This is something that nullifies a person's Islam. But the conditions have to be fulfilled upon each and every individual. We don't give a blatant or a blanket takfir for all. No, each one has to be specifically fulfilling the conditions, and we have to make sure that he does not have any obstacles before giving that ruling. Aisha from Gambia, and I apologize for the time.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
I have two questions.
Yes.
One is I want to know the relationship between Islam and culture or tradition. Because I listened to one of your programs on YouTube about entertainment, how Prophet ﷺ used to entertain himself. But that leads to my next question. My next question is, if somebody is getting married and the person decided to have a wedding ceremony wherein he doesn't want music, but all he wants is call a scholar to discuss on a topic about marriage, is this innovation or is this acceptable in Islam? More to that is, do Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during his time, what do people do during their wedding day? Like you're getting married today, do your people traditionally do what they are supposed to do? Or is it just Islam? People go to the mosque, tie the marriage, and that's the end of it.
Okay, I will answer you inshallah, Aisha. Aisha's first question is, what is the relationship between Islam and tradition? Well, Islam rules and it controls everything else. So when it comes to a community or to a society, it prevails over everything. And that is why we have to always look at our traditions, our cultures, our customs through the spectrum of Islam. What Islam approves, alhamdulillah. What Islam does not approve, we refrain and stop. And what Islam does not comment on, then we accept it as it is without any problem. So Islam is the governing entity that controls everything else. So if it's part of our customs to, for example, kneel or bow or prostrate in front of the elders or in front of the prince or the king or the president or whoever, we look at it from the point of view of Islam. And we know that this is totally prohibited in its shirk. So no one can stand up and say, listen, this is not a form of worship. We're not worshiping them. But this is our culture. I said, no, your culture is a no-go. You have to stop. Because Islam is the prevailing factor that you should govern everything else through it. Her second question was, now, if we have a wedding and there's no music, there's no free mixing, and we decide to bring a sheikh to speak about the merits of marriage, the rights and obligation upon the wife and the husband, is this an innovation or is it okay to do? It's an issue of dispute among scholars, because some say that this is an innovation and it was not the norm. Others say, no, this is permissible. It's not a form of worship. This is a marriage. So we can dance, we can, the dancing and the chanting that is permissible for women. The men could play, they could just sit and talk and socialize. All of this is permissible. And if they bring someone to address the audience, this is also permissible, and there is nothing wrong in that, inshallah. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there wasn't anything specific. For women, the Prophet told Aisha, instructed Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, clearly that go and accompany some of chanting, singing, duf, which is like the trampoline, like a musical instrument. This is permissible in Islam to do in weddings. So the Prophet ﷺ directed Aisha to do such a thing, and this is for women. For men, we don't have anything specific. So they can sit, they can socialize, they can have humorous talks and enjoy their time and life, because this is a time of celebration. We have Muhammad from Kuwait.
Hello.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have two questions, please.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Muhammad. Listen to me from the phone, please. Don't listen to me from the TV.
No, I'm with you with the phone. Sheikh, I have my son who has pierced his one of the ear. So is it permissible?
He pierced one of his ears?
he's pierced his ear.
For wearing earrings?
Yes, yes.
Okay, second question.
And my second question is, I have a shop back in India, and this shop, I want to rent it to a ladies' salon. So is it permissible to rent a shop to a ladies' salon?
Okay.
I want to clarify these two questions, please.
I will, inshallah, answer your questions. Muhammad from Kuwait's first question was about his son. His son, like most of the new generation now, they are influenced greatly by hip-hop singers, by movies, by the Western culture, which is the new form of invasion. So he feels inferior, he feels weak, he doesn't know anything about Islam, he doesn't know probably except Al-Fatiha maybe. And if you tell him, do you know Ayat al-Kursi, he would not probably know it by heart. So how would he feel the pride and the dignity among his peers? Is by doing something that no other one would probably do. So he pierced his ear to wear an earring, and most likely it's one ear only, not both ears. Maybe next year he would do tattoos on his body, unfortunately. May Allah protect him and guide him. So Muhammad is asking, is this permissible? And the answer is no. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the men who imitate women and curse the women who imitate men. And the Prophet told us those who imitate the disbelievers, or those who imitate a people, would be among them. So Muhammad, your son is one of two. Either he's imitating women or he's imitating kuffar. And I very much doubt that if you look at any of the scholars of Islam, of the da'is, of the judges, of the imams of the masjid, you would find anyone piercing his ear. No one does this except the kafir. And even the bad, sinful Muslims don't do this, generally speaking. So he is in great danger. He should repent to Allah Azza wa Jal and stop what he's doing, and to be proud of his Islam before it is soon, without him realizing, he may think of other religions to be better than Islam. We have Huda from Saudi. Huda.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have some questions.
Yes.
The first question, how should be the haircut of a son and of a boy? Nowadays they cut hair short, very short. You can see the skin of the sides, and at the top they keep very long, and it's longer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not normal haircut.
Okay.
This is one question. Second question: keeping your gold in a locker, is it allowed in a bank, conventional bank? Is it allowed?
Okay.
Because the bank usually it works on riba, but at the same time they provide you lockers where you keep your gold or any other thing, and you are paying the rent yearly.
Okay.
Is it allowed?
Mm-hmm.
And second thing, if you know something is going wrong with your kids, you know something wrong is going there, and you cannot stop it. And although you have been giving education, religious education, you have been guiding them, but still something is going wrong. How to rectify it? How to do the things in a right manner?
Okay.
It's a challenge now. The kids are challenged, big challenge.
Okay.
These are my questions, please.
Okay, I will answer your questions, inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
You're quite welcome. Muhammad from Kuwait's second question was, he has a shop back in India and he would like to rent or lease this shop to a beauty salon, a beauty parlor. So is this permissible? And the answer is, if this salon is serving only hijabi women, and in this case, yes, providing that they do halal things in there. But most likely in India, it will be serving non-hijabi women, which means that whoever they beautify and they fix and they do their hair or their body care and manicure and whatever they call it, Once they go out, all those looking at them would be sinful. The beauty parlor would be sinful, and those who rented the location would be sinful as well. So the answer would be no, akhi, you cannot do that. Abdul Kareem from Saudi.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, I have 3 questions here.
Yes.
The first one being, if we are in a situation where we are supposed to go to a relative's wedding here in Saudi, obviously with the Saudi tradition way, like the way they have the songs and the dances and everything going on in the ladies. So what is the better option? To avoid those weddings in order to avoid the sin, or we should maintain the ties of relationship as it is encouraged?
Okay, second question.
The second question is it permissible for a woman to talk to her non-mahram relative, just saying salam and how are you, or she should not talk to him completely?
Okay.
And the third question is like, is it okay for a woman to go with a driver having her children around her, that is around 7, 8 years of age, or it's completely not allowed?
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I will answer your question, inshallah. Wujazaki. Huda's question was the cutting or shortening the hair of the boy. Now, I think she's referring to youngsters. So whether they're adolescents or teenagers or even men, some of them try to almost shave the side of their head, keeping the top of the head or the hair intact and keeping it long from the back. And this is not part of the normal Muslim haircut. Sheikh, is there a Muslim haircut? No. Any normal haircut would do, providing that people that look at you would not say, this reminds me of the Marines. So if you shave almost the side of your head and keep the top little bit, this is the Marines' way of doing it. You're imitating a kafir. No go. If you shave all of it and keep something on the top, like Mr. T, this is haram. This is not permissible as well. And you can go on in naming and giving such examples of haircut. The normal haircut is to cut it short. Maybe sometimes the sides are shorter than the top. There's no problem, but to completely remove it or shave it or make it like 0 or degree 1 and the rest is longer, no, this is not permissible. We have Muhammad from Turkey.
Hello?
Yes, Muhammad.
How are you?
I'm fine.
I would like to give a comment to your program. I'm one of your viewers who is watching your programs at least 1 hour a day. And I like many of your programs. But what I was going to say was that as I have seen, some of your experts have supported anti-Syrian government groups. And what happened? What is
Muhammad, my friend, if you have a question, please, this is a Q&A program. If you have a comment, there is Huda Pulse or something to do with politics. But if you have a specific question, give it to me, please. I apologize. Okay, Huda, she says that, what's the ruling on keeping my jewels and jewelry in a safe deposit box in a bank? This is totally permissible. There's nothing wrong in that because it's a service that the bank is providing. There is no riba, there is no interest involved. So it's like transferring money from one bank account to another country. This is normal and this is halal and there's no problem in that, inshaAllah. Huda says, our children nowadays are making a lot of mistakes. Well, before we move on, Muhammad from Nigeria.
And I'm enjoying the program that you're doing. It's a highly educating program.
Muhammad, listen to me from the phone, mute your TV and ask me your question, please.
My question is, I appreciate the program that is highly educated program.
Okay, so what's the question?
It's not a question I want to comment. It's not a question that I want to comment.
Akhi, this is not a comment program. If you have a question...
Yeah, you discuss about the female. There is somebody who asks you question.
Okay, I think Muhammad is gone. Abdul Karim says, what's the ruling? Okay, no, Huda says, the children are making a lot of mistakes and we know that they're doing something that is wrong. So how can we rectify this? First of all, there are things that are not within your ability. So if a child of yours wants to sin and he is like in his 20s, what can you do about this? This is something that is out of your ability to change. Now we're talking about children who are 7 or 8 years of age. You can force them, you can reprimand them, you have different ways to rectify this. So if they are using their laptops or PDAs to watch something that is haram, listen to something that is haram, you can take it away from them and advise them. But when they reach a certain age and you find that they're doing a number of sins that you have no control to stopping them. First of all, you cannot aid them. You cannot help them. Second of all, you have to block all the means that may assist them. So if you give them pocket money and you know that they buy with this pocket money cigarettes, stop your pocket money. Give them food, give them shelter, give them clothing, but don't give them pocket money so that they would not use it in haram or buying drugs or fornicating or going to nightclubs, etc. If you give them a car, take the car away off them, and so on. So you have to improvise, seeking Allah's guidance all the time, consulting those around you to give you proper advice and help, evaluating the pros and the cons. So sometimes if I take a particular measurement to evaluate something, it may lead to dire consequences. So I have to weigh the pros and cons, and Allah knows best. Anwar from Saudi Arabia. I hope you have a question, not a comment. Anwar?
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
كيف الحال شيخ؟
حياك الله أخي.
Okay. Sheikh, regarding the witr prayers, I would like to ask one question that I heard two different hadiths. That one says that if a person prays witr before sleeping and prays duha and fast for the 3 days of ayyam bayd, the 13, 14, 15. So inshallah he will be rewarded with Jannah. And one more hadith says that the witr should be the last prayer before anything. So if I plan to pray tahajjud, so how should I schedule the witr prayer? Should I pray before sleeping and get up late and pray tahajjud? Or I can delay the witr until after tahajjud?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, that is all. Thank you very much.
I will answer you, inshallah. Hayyakallah akhi. Abdul Karim from Saudi Arabia, she says that we have a problem that when we're invited to a wedding here in Saudi Arabia, you know, the culture and the people are a little bit far away from Islam, though they are Muslims, but they're not practicing. So most of the weddings have music, dancing, and at the end of the night, the groom and his family, the father and the sons, they will enter to the women's section and they will take photographs. All of this is totally baseless and not related to Islam. So she says, what should I do? Should we go to keep the ties or should we refrain? Definitely the answer is you must refrain. You cannot attend such prohibited celebrations or parties which may include videotaping, music, mixing. All of this is haram. Now, if it's someone who is really close to you and you fear, like a brother, like an uncle, and you fear that if you don't show up, they will cut the kinship ties, in this case, you may go at the very beginning of the night before these activities begin and give your congratulations and gift, etc., and bail out. But if it's from the very beginning, it is starting, then this is totally not permissible for you to go, even if they get angry with you and cut the ties of kinship. They are the wrongful people. Abu Zahra from Saudi.
السلام عليكم شيخ.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
كيف حالك؟
Ya حياك الله.
حياك الله. I have a question. Basically, we are following the Prophet of Islam. Whatever he has said, the Quran and the Sunnah. These are two things he has left behind us. So my brother-in-law is telling me recently that Sufism is the way of life. Sufism teaches this. We are going weekly once as a Jama'ah. We are sitting in some corner and doing some tasbeehs and du'as, and we feel we are more closer to Allah, and there are some secrets which the Prophet ﷺ has left behind, which is revealed to only few people, so we can come closer to Allah. I'm really amazed because he lives far away from me. I'm from Saudi and he's living in Qatar.
Okay.
So I'm trying to tell him that this is the way. Actually, the way is Quran and the Sunnah. There's no other way.
So the question?
Please just yes. Regarding the Sufism, I want to know because he's been actually taken over by the Sufism.
Khalas, I will answer you.
I want to know that I told him not to divide into sections. So can you just tell me how to,
I will answer you, akhi. Don't worry, Abu Zahra. Hayyak Allah, akhi. Okay, we have a short break. Stay tuned. And inshallah, we'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We have question of Abdul Karim stating that what's the ruling on giving salam to a relative who is non-mahram? It's a long topic. In a nutshell, if you are with your mahram, if you are with your husband, if you are with your father, your brother, and there is no fitna involved, this is permissible. There's no problem saying, Assalamu alaikum, my cousin, how are you, how is your wife, how's your mother, and that's it. As long as you're wearing the proper hijab and you're not socializing, you're not cracking jokes, you're not doing anything that would be a means of fitna. Because this happens among the relatives, especially among the relatives. So if you avoid this, there's no problem. If you're on your own, no, this is not permissible at all. The third question, what's the ruling on a woman getting into the car with a driver and she has one of her kids who is 7 or 8 years of age? If the child is aware and he listens and can understand, so if the driver says, mashallah, I love the perfume you're wearing, and the child's ears would be like this, what is he saying? Or he goes to his father and says, the driver said this and that. Okay, in this case, yes, he breaks the seclusion, he breaks the khulwa. But if he doesn't know what's happening, no matter what he says, and if the driver makes a pass on the woman and he doesn't know what's going on, this is not he does not break the seclusion. Anwar from Saudi Arabia says that I heard that witr and sleeping before sleeping, praying duha and the white days have great reward, but then I have this confusion when it comes to the issue of how do you say it? The instruction of the Prophet ﷺ to postpone and to delay witr to be the last thing you pray at the night. So how can we join and have it both ways? Before we answer this question, we have Ahmed from Qatar.
Hello.
Yes, Ahmed.
Thank you for your program. I see many people call to your program and interested to assign one season or episode or program about ISIS. In my idea, that's not bad. And then we can speak about it in one of your channel program and take some view about it. What's the problem? Addressing this issue can solve contradiction of viewers who are not Muslim about Islam, and it's good propaganda for Islam. It's your duty to speak more than about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed, and I will inshallah address your issue. Anwar. So Anwar is confused. First of all, Anwar, what you heard is wrong partly. See, the Prophet ﷺ told us in a hadith where Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, said that my Khalil, my close companion, instructed me with 3 things that I will never leave. First, to make witr before going to bed. 2, to fast 3 days of every lunar month. 3, to offer 2 rak'ahs duha. Now, the instruction to pray witr before going to bed, this was specifically addressing Abu Hurairah, who used to spend most of his night studying the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and memorizing it and revising it. So he would, or he may not be able to pray tahajjud. So the Prophet instructed him ﷺ to offer witr before going to bed, and if he wakes up at the end of the night, he may pray tahajjud without repeating the witr. But the instruction, the general instruction is that the best time to pray witr is the last thing you pray at that night, and this is at the last third of the night. So there is no contradiction, none whatsoever. If you know for sure that you will pray before Fajr Adhan, then postpone and delay your witr until that time. But if you're afraid that if you fall asleep, you may not wake up except after the Adhan, in this case, pray witr before you go to bed. We have Aris from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam to Allah.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine. Jazakallah khair for asking.
I have one question, Sheikh. I have asked this question to so many Sheikhs and I got different answers.
Okay.
My question is there azab khabar? I mean, when the person who dies, there is a azab in the khabar, or he will be only after the judgment day?
And who among the sheikhs who you asked and told you that there is no azab al-qabr?
Luckily, I asked here people here in Jeddah. They said, some said yes and some said no, there is no azab al-qabr. There will be 3 questions asked. After the 3 questions, answers of the 3 questions, you will be given the judgment whether you go to Jannah or...
Okay.
I mean, it is confusing. Like, I just want to know, is there azab al-khabar or no?
I will inshallah answer your question. Abu Zahra from Saudi Arabia, he says that he has a friend from Qatar who is a Sufi, and he keeps on telling him that the Sufi way of religion is the best way. We sit in a corner of a masjid, we make dhikr, we make dua, we feel our hearts light with sins and heavy with iman, and our way of life is the best way of life. The Prophet ﷺ had secrets that he only gave to few of his friends, and we share some of these secrets. And he's asking, what should I say? Akhi, the Prophet told us ﷺ that there will be 73 sects of his ummah. They will be divided into 73, all in hell except one. And when they asked him, which one, O Prophet of Allah? He said, those who are on the footsteps of my footsteps and the companions. So those who are following the Prophet ﷺ and his companions are on the right track without any doubt. Now, when we come to the Sufis, Sufis are levels and grades. Some of them are very close to us. And all what they have from Sufism is that they are not indulged in this life. So they don't ride a fancy car like we do. They don't have any connection with this dunya when it comes to living a nice and soft life, which is by itself good. This is their right to choose. They're close to us. But there are extreme Sufis who go out of the fold of Islam when they pretend that they have things that are not found in the Quran and Sunnah. Like your friend is saying that the Prophet has deceived and cheated his ummah, astaghfirullah, when he only taught a handful secrets that the whole ummah do not know about. And this is totally wrong and out of context altogether. So how do we address these people? We address them that even the Christians have this light heart and this tranquility they find, though they are disbelievers. This is from shaitan. You cannot get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal except through the Quran and the Sunnah and following the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ, and your practice is full of innovation. Ahmed from Qatar is saying that why don't you make a program on ISIS and explain to the Westerners and to the non-Muslims the reality. And this, I second this vote and opinion, and it's a very sound idea, because the Muslims themselves have to be aware, they have to be informed of the wrong doubts and misconceptions that ISIS or ISIL or IS or whatever they call themselves inject on social media to the masses and to the people. And they are polluting the youth's heads and thoughts with things that are not related to Islam, with their barbarism and barbaric acts, and with their fanaticism. So yes, I do second this opinion, and it has to be well organized and addressing all their doubts and issues and clarifying it through the Quran and the Sunnah, because this is what Muslims should do. The final question is from Aris. He's saying that the torment of the grave, some people here, his scholars, he says, that say that there isn't anything as such. And the minute, take it as a rule of thumb, Aris, whoever says that there isn't the torment of the grave, know that he is an innovator, and he is most likely from the cult of Mu'tazila, because they reject the idea of Adhab al-Qabr, or the torment of the grave. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, no one disagrees on this important topic. It's very clear, well stated in the Quran and in the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and the consensus of scholars of Ahlul Sunnah that it exists. So don't listen to these so-called scholars, immediately cross them out. Don't listen to anything of their teachings, because they have no knowledge. Now, there is a difference between the torment of the grave and the punishment in hellfire on the Day of Judgment. So they're not entirely related, meaning that a person from the people of Jannah might be tormented in his grave, and a person from the people of hell may not be tormented in his grave. A Muslim who has lots and lots of good deeds and treats in him, but he committed an act of ghibah, backbiting, or namima, he will be punished in his grave. Though on the Day of Judgment he will enter paradise directly. And vice versa, a sinful person who did not commit ghibah, who did not do the things that qualify a person to be tormented in his grave, but he has other sins. So in his grave he would not be tormented. But on the Day of Judgment, when held accountable, Allah Azza wa Jal would sentence him to whatever in hell, and he will be punished in hell. So they are not related. Anyone who's being punished in his grave must be punished in hell. No, this is not the case. I think we have 1 minute remaining, or is it time? I'm not sure. Alim says, I hear people who say, I ask Allah and call Him, but He does not hear me nor respond to me, and they doubt Allah's existence. How do you advise such people? This is a very serious topic. Someone who says this would nullify his Islam. It's an act of apostasy to doubt that Allah does not hear you. Allah is the creator. He's not like you and me. You cannot hold Him accountable. If He doesn't want to answer your prayer, this is His right. He's not obliged to do this. So such people, you have to go back with them to square zero, and start with them in the origin of Islam and how Islam is in the Quran, in the Sunnah, and bring them back to the Shahada, to the Tawheed, and then inshallah things would be fixed. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next week, same time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen